going to say something about it, are we? Well, you know who the hell I am. If you keep coming to the damn channel, you figure shit out anyway. Maybe I am the worst nightmare for everybody these days because I talk liberal. I don't talk conservative. I don't put the finger and blame on people. Unless, of course, we're dealing with judgmental situations at this point. It is June 28th, 2020. According to the little calendar I've got on my damn computer here. It's a little after 3:14 in the morning on a Sunday. Some days you can sleep and other days not so sleepy. This is the latter. And when I do my latter, I'm also checking out what's going on in the town where I reside in. The purely conservative, idiotic town of Rosamond, California. Yeah, they're going to love me for that shit, that's for sure. But you know what? They don't like me in the first place. I'm too much of a mouth for them. I moved into this town several years ago, looking for cheap rent like everybody else. Looking for a place to live. If they didn't like it, why did they have a place for people to live in? I don't know. But it is, and that's what happens. I'm bored. Get this thing bent like crazy, and I'm really going to have problems with my power and my laptop. Things I have to deal with. And it's physical things like that that are not debatable. But what is debatable is interpretations over situations. Blue Lives Matter. Shall we open up Pandora's box? Has a problem with Black Lives Matter. We have a Tampa, Florida sheriff several days ago, and this is finding stories out online being passed off from one situation to another situation. From my conservative town who believes in the conservative word as gospel. They don't believe that in one situation there could be multiple facets of how to interpret the situation. Okay. First week of June. Protests are still going crazy like crazy. People going insane with the Floyd murder. Let's call it that. And people are trying to get quote-unquote justice for it. Some people are using protest legitimately, and other people are using it illegitimately. They want to cause trouble. They infiltrate a large group of people, so you get infiltrators on there ready to give hell and handbasket to everybody. They want to have fun, apparently. But 2 officers have to be the cost of it. The police chief over at Florida, Tampa, Florida, had delivered a news story. Now, why it didn't pick up on the nationals, I don't know, because I tried to research it and I didn't find it on nationals. Normally CNN or MSNBC, CBS, ABC, major networks would have picked up on the damn thing. Florida is a hot zone for news stories. This one apparently escaped their radar, except for Fox News Network. And also the local paper, the Tampa Bay Times. And it was dated in the crime sections. That's what happens when you start researching stuff on Google, that you find a lot of interesting stories to be related to. And what they were talking about, something happened, as I said before, earlier in June. And I'm just going over some of the information on here. Forgive me for doing this, not getting on here, not having all the information necessary. You know, things happen. As it was a Saturday night, officers responded to calls of shots fired on certain streets, only to encounter a crowd of hundreds who threw bottles at officers and jumped on a police vehicle. One officer was struck in the left side of his face and went to the hospital with laceration. No shooting victim was found. And a police chief named of Dugan, Chief Brian Dugan of Tampa Bay, he paints a picture of beleaguered police force, worn down by weeks of protest and media scrutiny. This is the quoting record pieces of it from the Tampa Bay Times, that this thing was generated back in June of, I'm trying to get the damn date on this thing. I mean, when they usually have these stories, you put a date on here to keep track of everything else going on these days. But it's supposed to be information related to it, so it must have been, as I said, the first week of June. The author of it, the reporter was Kavitha Sarana, who wrote the story in it, in the crime section of it. And that's alright, because usually when they're writing stories, they verify the facts, the reporters do. Now, certain reporters actually do have slants to their story. They have their own viewers that they want to read stories of what's going on out there. And some of them have a liberal slant or a conservative slant. I've heard it being called left and right. Now, a lot of people don't like liberal media. They call them fake news all the time. Therefore, if it's made up, it's real news. I love it when a town, or actually a few people in town, who try to influence a lot of other people, don't research their information thoroughly enough. They post one particular viewpoint, but they don't post the other viewpoint because they don't care about the other viewpoint. They don't care what happens on the other side of the story. Take, for example, we've got a commentator out there. Now, there's a lot of commentators out there. Some have actually made Congress at this point over here. But when I keep hearing commentators that don't show facts and figures and don't produce their facts, just opinions like crazy. Mine are all opinions I've tried to research. Mine are all opinions because of information I try to gather. I am not a reporter. Never have to claim that this was a news site. This is my own personal opinions area of what's going on in my life and everything else happening with the coronavirus and anything else personal has been happening to me, because these are all personal observations at this point over here. My personal observation is what I'm noticing in media. Media has been slanting stuff left and right ever since we had the freedom of press. They wanted things going their way. They want to focus change in their direction. So they target audiences. It's been going on since we had the actual press going on, since Benjamin Franklin. In order to get the colonists riled and pissed off enough at the British Empire, we had to have people incited. We had to have them enraged. We had to have them thinking about what's been happening. They'll take a viewpoint, they'll take a piece of news, and they'll make it something else. Now, either they'll tell it about the truth or not. Some things are verifiable and other things are just opinions. But it doesn't matter. People will be buying the news in the first place. They'll be listening to it. They'll be absorbing and talking about it. But pretty shortly, everyone thinks it's the real damn thing. The revolution was real. Wasn't fake. We had to get the colonists pissed off about what the British were doing. So people had to report what was going on with the British. Tell the other colonists what was going on. So the other colonists, the 13, was just freaked out what happened. I mean, if people were incensed then, imagine what they are right now as it is. Media does do social change. depending on how we're slanting the news at this point over here. Sometimes the facts can be misconstrued. If they are verified and said in the same way everyone else, are they copying or are they actually verifying the same bad information at the point in the first place? The moon landings. To this day, there are people who still think it's a Hollywood misconception. It's an invention of Hollywood. The moon landings never happened. We manufactured everything. Special effects does. Despite the fact that we've had a launch on rocket pads at Cape Canaveral / Cape Kennedy, and we've had documentation, we've got samples coming back from the moon, we had pictures, we have people from the Flat Earth Society saying the Earth is flat, and yet we've got images, data, saying that the Earth is round. We travel on it like crazy. We think it's flat because we're looking at the curve at somewhat of an angle that looks flat to us, but it's still curved. It's still the curvature. I couldn't figure out for the life of me how a planet could be flat in space. A flat disk when we've got the planets in our solar system and the extra planets out there and the stars are showing to be round, not flat. So how is the Earth flat? Yet we have people claiming that they're flat. We've got evidence to support otherwise. We've got different viewpoints of what the Earth is, and yet we've got scientific fact on that one. Some things you can prove and other things you can't prove. Now, what happens at an event is going to be the interpretation of everybody there. If they get it on camera or not, the camera is usually the most objective observer. Unless, of course, you're purposely maneuvering the camera to make your own viewpoint necessary. Isn't that how it works? You want to show people something on camera, on film, on digital, in binary digits of what the subject matter you're showing. So you focus a camera. You focus a camera on a phone, and you're documenting something, either a few seconds or an hour or however long the event is that whoever can be recorded. Once you have the information is there. You send the information out. Now people will start to interpret that. They'll start to interpret it whether or not if it's actually legitimate or not. Was it actually recording the event truthfully? It records the event because of the person holding the damn camera. He's trying to get a viewpoint for them, their own perspective. Same thing goes for news articles and videos. We all got perspectives. We all got our viewpoints. We're all different at the situation over here. But some people are more extreme to the situation that one viewpoint is necessary and everything else is chaos. It's all fake to them. Try this one. We get, for example, sonic booms happening across our Antelope Valley floor. For those who've been familiar with aviation and military aircraft, we assume, we know that they are military aircraft going above us. We hear it. Sometimes we may or may not get a chance to see it. For some people, they'll think it's something else. I wonder how you can reinterpret a sound. I don't know. Or try this. Planes flying in the sky. Flying at certain altitudes where the wingtips and the ailerons are leaving trails. Maybe it's too damn cold up in the atmosphere where the friction of the airplane is going through and it's creating trail for the planes. And it's been known to happen. It's been scientifically proven one way or another. Yet some people keep thinking that they are chemtrails, that the perpetrators are dumping chemicals to poison people left and right. For what nefarious reason, nobody knows. But it's assumed that we're being poisoned in the sky. I feel fine. I haven't got any cancers yet. Alright, this one. This one's still in debate at this point over here, whether or not it's legitimate or not, but probably sounds like it. You live close enough to a damn power line or a cell tower, you're getting electromagnetic energy out of the thing, and whether or not it's causing any cancers or not. I like to see the scientific evidence that says that it's causing cancers at this point over here. I've lived close to the cell towers. I've lived close, almost next to a damn power antenna. I've lived right near power poles. For all my life, I've lived close to those damn things. Am I getting cancer? I don't know. Am I going to blame those things? I don't know. Is there any scientific proof? It's the shit out of me. If there is, I haven't seen any. So I don't believe in those kind of theories. Will I believe in a baby rattlesnake will kill me? Yes. That's proven. That's medical. I'm not going to debate that issue with a damn little snake ready to kill me because its poison is so concentrated. So I'm not going to stress over that damn situation. Did you understand that there are viewpoints that we have? We have our own viewpoints or our way of interpreting the data in front of us. Some of us are skeptical enough that we don't trust anybody else's viewpoint but our own because we like to verify the stuff. But other people are just like sheep. You're going to listen. You're going to listen and follow the damn crowd. And if the crowd happens to go over a cliff, they don't care. They're following the damn crowd because I don't know why they're following the crowd. They just like to follow the crowd. Even though you're hearing the screams down below as they fall off the damn cliff. Meanwhile, those are sitting on the sidelines are selling tickets, chewing on popcorn, and saying, okay, who do you think's next? Because we've already seen what's happened. I'm skeptic. I'm skeptical of a lot of things. Someone could say that we've got Armageddon happening right now. We've got Revelation happening right now. I've been saying these damn things. God knows how long in the lifetime of humanity since they started up with the Bible. And there are even quatrains written by Nostradamus. Some of them said, see, these things happen over here. He had the foresight. Maybe a lucky guess, I don't know. I'm not buying into it. If somebody's got precognition ability to find the future is in flux. It depends upon our decisions we make and the actions we take today. We base those actions and decisions based on the knowledge we've had back then and what's currently happening right now in order to affect tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen in the next few hours. I can tell you with certainty that the sun's going to be coming up. I can tell you that it may be hot or it may be cold, depending on the air. I can tell you that once I walk outside my door, at this time of the morning, it is cold, because it is a scientific fact. That is certain for me. What's not certain for me is someone else's interpretations of situations happening over here that may have more stories than one. You just can't accept one story. There's got to be more stories to just one incident. There's a reason why we have body cameras on cops at this point over here, because people got sick and tired of what was happening, and they're getting their asses kicked. No vague statement at this point over here. When you have cops turning off body cams because they don't want anything to be recorded at that moment, those are decisions that are being affected at that point. Those decisions matter because that's recorded history. That's recorded information right there. And everyone needs to know what's happening. But whoever's doing the recording feels like it's not needed. It's not necessary. Well, maybe not for you, but for history it is. So when you have other cameras trying to corroborate or actually disprove the situation, it gets even better than that, because now there's more sides to the story. Same thing goes every time you post on social media. There's always more sides to stuff that you're posting right now. Was it legitimate? Was it not legitimate? That's why they keep saying you have to verify the stuff that you're putting on social media. Unless, of course, you're going to be doing the same situation like everyone else has for God knows how long, and trying to influence people left and right. As started up when we had our press and how we got the colonists pissed off at the British enough to where we did something about it. And in print and the social media, those kind of viewpoints matter. People are going to be, I'm going to say the G word on this one, gullible enough to believe it. However, if there's facts on the side of it, they're verified by other sources regarding a thing, then it cannot be just a viewpoint. It is fact. It is proven to be laws in the scientific community when individual scientists can prove or disprove something of a hypothetical nature, a hypothesis, turning into a theory and turning into fact. Gravity is fact. Air is fact. Heat is fact. A lot of things we take for granted as fact. Verified. Quantified. Qualified. Regarding to what's been happening these days, there's always different stories happening. You just have to tear those things apart to see what's real or not. And that's the problem when you're extreme, because you have to look at it through rose-colored glasses that you've got there without looking at the entire picture. Anyway, that's my own massive thought at this point over here from a sleep-deprived nature at this point. It is a little... Jesus, only 3:37 in the morning? Yeah, I blattered on long enough. So, you guys want to comment, you're going to comment. If you're not going to comment, don't comment. There's only my opinions out there being pushed. And I'm not trying to influence people. I'm just trying to tell people what I think and what I feel. It's up to you whether or not you like them or not. If it's going to be a movement, fine, there's going to be a movement. If there's not going to be a movement, then it's a matter of one.